This is the third part of my Surrender Experiment series, and it has been 3 months now since I started the Surrender Experiment, and I decided to give you a bit of an update on my body and my image, my body image that I have. So something has happened about 3 weeks ago that has truly transformed my life. Maybe not so much from the outside for other people who look at me, but for myself on the inside it has changed dramatically. And I promised you that I will keep you up to date, that I will take you on this journey as I'm actually living through it. So let's dive in. If you have not watched part 1 and part 2 of the Surrender Experiment series, no worries. You can watch this episode all by itself without having watched the other 2 episodes. But if you want to know more of what this experiment is actually all about and my update 6 weeks into the experiment, then I will link the 2 videos below for you in the video description. Okay, so I made a significant shift about 3 weeks ago in my process of letting go and surrendering. And I didn't do it all by myself. I did get some help. I'm going to tell you about that part, what happened exactly 3 weeks ago and the help that I got with it. But I want you to know that I was probably just able to experience this event because all of the steps of letting go that I did towards that event. So I want you to be aware that this was not just an event that came out of nowhere. No, you know that I'm on this journey of self-development and letting go for quite a while now, for years now, and especially the Surrender Experiment about my body and my body image for 3 months now. So there has already been a lot of work that went into it. And do I say now with that you couldn't have that kind of event without doing all of the steps that I have done previously? No, of course not. Of course you can have exactly the same experience without all of those steps. But I have just for myself reflected on all of the steps that led me to the event and all of the actions I took, the letting go of emotional blockages that I went through and the removal of limiting beliefs that I had to go through to actually come to this event. So I, for myself, just made this reflection that yes, I did get divine, earthly and spiritually help with this event, which was amazing. But at the same time, it was just one of the things that led me to where I am today. Since we last spoke, I have continued on this journey of letting go, of sitting in silence, of surrendering, and various little things, insights, aha moments happened, similar to what I've told you in part 2 already. It just kind of continued. But at the same time, I did not make a lot of progress that I felt or that I saw on the outside, which of course I'm always talking about, right? That comes kind of later on when you're ready, or it comes with a big bang, kind of how I experience it now. But nothing like what happened 3 weeks ago. So for you to be aware of, I might have mentioned it in previous episodes that I do work with energy. I'm a Reiki master as well, and I do participate in remote healings on a voluntary basis. And I love to do this work, and I love to support other people with healing, loving energy for them to heal themselves. And I am part of a group for a couple of years now where we do voluntary healings on a daily basis, and I do join a couple of times per week. And I felt about 3.5 weeks ago, I felt like I could really use some help in the process. Usually I don't really take the opportunity of receiving remote healing very often because I don't really have any physical symptoms. But at that point in time, I was like, how about I just book myself a healing with my own healing group and be the healy instead of the healer. So I did. That was 3 weeks ago. So I received a remote healing from the loving participants and members of the group, and it shifted a lot. So if you would have looked from the outside, it would have been like watching The Exorcist. That's how I felt throughout the healing, and I know that's absolutely normal. And it can happen. It's just the moving of energy and releasing of energy. But it's still always crazy to experience every now and then. And I can only describe it as something fundamentally has been removed out of my energy system. And it was actually a removing of something from my solar plexus, so from my third energy center here, when I received the remote healing. And it was amazing. It was, at the same time, it was painful, it was scary, it was overwhelming. But I know that I was just so supported by the lovely humans that sent me the energy. And they were just supporting me, helping me through the process. And something else, something more higher, something more spiritual helped in literally pulling something out of my solar plexus. That's just how I can describe it without really talking about the event for an hour or so. But what is much more important is, of course, what happened afterwards. And of course, straight afterwards, I didn't feel anything. I just knew that I released something fundamentally. During the healing of what happened as well, I had as well a memory of myself when I was maybe about 7 or 8 years ago. I saw myself in a particular dress, and I actually still remember this dress. It was a very beautiful dress that I had. And somehow that memory, I don't know what happened there or what it meant to me back then or what it made me create some kind of blockage inside of me. And I will probably never know. But it had to do with that memory, that removal of stuck energy or emotions, whatever happened to me in my solar plexus had to do and was linked to that memory because I saw the pictures. I did ask as well later on, a few days later, the spirits, if I still need to understand more about that memory. And they said, no, it's all done. It was all released. You do not need to understand more about that memory or understand what actually happened to you in that healing. It's all been done. It's all been taken care of. It's released. It's done. And you can just move on with your life. I'm like, okay, fine. I'm not supposed to understand what it had to do when I was that age, when I was wearing that dress. I don't need to understand to be receiving the healing energy and the releasing of whatever needed to be released. I don't need to understand it with my analytical mind or my conscious mind to know that something fundamentally happened to me with the help of spiritual connections and my earthly connections to lovely humans. So what I experienced afterwards, the first thing was that I suddenly did not have anymore the need or the urge to drink alcohol anymore. And I have talked about this before, that this is has been in the past my go-to thing to relax or to maybe even suppress my emotions or to not look at something. Way before, when I was still burnt out and not aware of what I was doing to myself. So drinking a couple of glasses in the evening was kind of my relaxation or my running away from my emotions. But you might know as well, if you are following me for a while, that last year I didn't drink alcohol for over 10 months. But then I stopped because I knew I wasn't resolving my habit with alcohol. I was just kind of running away by just not drinking it. So I did start again drinking alcohol. And I knew from then on that I had to restrict myself and to just not, and stop myself just by force. Not drinking alcohol anymore was not the solution. I wanted to get to another level with that habit. I wanted to kind of just resolve it instead of restricting myself and stopping myself. Kind of like, oh, I want to drink a glass of wine, but I wanted to remove even that need or that desire. So it would just not be in it anymore. And I think that's minimum partly what happened to me in that healing. Because suddenly from one day to another, the desire and the need to have a glass of wine in the evening has mostly gone. And this is now 3 weeks. I had once alcohol when we went out with friends. And I felt like, okay, I could have a couple of glasses, and I did. And it was as well very easy after a couple of glasses to say, okay, I had enough. And since then, really, my complete habit changed. So something was inside of me that described this need or this desire or this mechanism to wanting to drink a glass or two of wine every evening to relax or whatever. I still use this habit for, and suddenly now it was gone from one day to another, and I don't have the desire anymore. And that is just mind-blowing for me, because obviously this is exactly what I wanted, right? It's exactly how I wanted it to be. I just didn't want to think about it anymore. I didn't want to go to the supermarket and think, oh, let me get some wine, because probably in the evening I want to drink something again. I don't think like that anymore. It's just gone. And I know that it's not just this one remote healing that I received. That was kind of like the ultimate thing, the tip of the whole iceberg of things that I have been working on for years, but specifically as well in the last 3 months. So you can probably imagine how grateful I am for having released this kind of habit. I mean, if you have any kind of habit that you want to get rid of and you just can't, and you're struggling for years on this already, you can imagine how amazing it feels to suddenly not have this habit hanging over you like a dark cloud around your head and constantly being in control of you and constantly making you feel lesser or guilty of it. So I can just say, well, something suddenly worked, and I was able through that healing to finally let go of whatever that was. And I don't know what it was, but suddenly a lot of things changed. And this is, of course, a huge thing for me, because it's not just that I feel differently now, but if I think about, well, if I now kind of let go of it, what kind of change will that be for me in a year's time, in 5 years' time, in 10, 20, 30 years' time, right? If I now suddenly got rid of that habit that I knew wasn't good for me, but I just couldn't help myself. And I knew I didn't want to go down that route of restricting myself. I'd done it last year. For nearly a year, I said I wouldn't drink, and I was successful. I didn't drink. That didn't mean that the underlying desire or wish to still do it every day wasn't there. I just controlled myself with force, with life energy, to not do it. and it kind of worked, but I was like, this cannot be the solution for the rest of my life, to either drink regularly and not being able to get out of the habit, or to restricting myself completely and deny myself this. I just wanted it to be naturally, for me to be able to have a glass of wine still in my life when I want to, like once per month, and maybe I end up not wanting it at some point anymore. But that's the thing. I just don't want to control and live with that want still inside of me simmering around, and me just putting like a sticker on it or a lid on it or a box around it and hide it away somewhere and saying like, no, I don't really want to, but I actually want to. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I resolved something. I let something go. I can't completely explain it, but I don't think I have to completely understand it. It's a higher intelligence that helped me. It's the intelligence that runs our bodies, that runs all of nature, and that makes everything work perfectly. I know that this is not what my conscious mind does. My conscious mind is not that intelligent to run my digestion and to make sure that I breathe and that my heart is pumping. That is a higher intelligence, and this higher intelligence was there to help me and say, yes, Linda, you have done enough of the inner work, and putting your energy into your inner work and into my practices to be able to say, okay, now you are ready to let that one thing go and get the benefit from it. That is what you wanted and you're ready for it. That's kind of how I felt. So yeah, it's been 3 weeks. It's been fantastic. Obviously, because I drink much less or hardly anything, I feel better, I sleep better, and I just, of course, have more energy as well for doing other things. The other thing that happened to me, I don't know if it's exactly related to that event, probably somehow, but it might have as well some other connections. But last week I suddenly felt the desire to, like an inner calling, to actually move my body again more. But surprisingly to me, I actually suddenly had the thought, maybe I should go back to the gym. And I was like, what? About 10 years ago, probably 9 to 10 years ago, until then I went to the gym a lot, nearly every day or maybe 5 times per week. And at some point I was just so sick of it. I didn't want to go anymore to the gym. It was just a phase in my life and I'm like, okay, I'm done with this. If I want to move my body, I do it differently. I didn't do anything for years. Then I did, then yoga stepped into my life about 4 or 5 years ago. And on and off, I have been doing yoga, sometimes some other things, but predominantly yoga. And again, since about half a year or a year again, I just can't bring myself in to do that. And then I suddenly had this thought, maybe I should go back to the gym. And it wasn't like with the wish of losing weight or feeling better in my body. That is the huge difference, because that is always, most of the times, what brought me to the gym was, I want to lose weight, or I want to be happier with how I look, or I want to strengthen my muscles so I have less fat. That kind of thinking was what I would think about of going to the gym in the past. And this time it feels differently. It comes more from an inner desire to feel healthy and to support my body, to build up some muscles around my joints, to get more stronger in how I feel about my body, but just to support it more. It's more thinking about the future and going, I actually want to be a little bit more stronger and support my joints, support my body more, for it to be longer healthy. That is where it comes from this time around. The desire of going back to the gym and actually doing some strength training, and as well bringing my heartbeat up and some endurance training. It all comes from more of a feeling of, I want to feel more healthy. I want to support my body more. And I guess that's kind of a much better lens of, it comes more from a lens of love and support from my body, instead of punishment to say, you have to lose weight, you have to weigh less, you have to look better. That is a much more negative lens that I would have had in the past. And this time it comes more from, I want to feel longer healthy, I want to feel healthier, I want to feel more energized, I want to support my body to be stronger, to be able to do more with it longer in my age as well. And this is as well completely new to me, and of course kind of shocking, like, what? I want to go to the gym? Where's this coming from? I actually already registered. I was already once there. I will go tomorrow morning again. And it's just a completely new me on the inside. And I keep surprising myself with these weird ideas where I go, why does this come to me now? But I guess this is what I was wanting. I just didn't know how it was going to look like, right? I didn't know that suddenly I would not have the desire anymore to put alcohol into my body, or that I suddenly have the desire to feel more healthy and make the connection to, then just go to the gym, because you're not doing yoga. It doesn't inspire you at the moment. So you better go to the gym to actually do that. I'm like, okay, fine. And it's as well this time differently, that I don't want to go to the gym to power myself out and really push myself completely out of, like, really breaking myself and going way, like, really like punishing myself. That was how it felt always in the past, like do more, because otherwise you don't deserve a healthier looking body with more muscles and a leaner body. This time it's more about go enjoy being with your body, enjoy doing something for your body, enjoy building up some muscles, and do it with joy. Don't punish yourself in the gym. Don't do things that you don't enjoy. I've joined a huge gym. There are so many things. I'm not going to do things that I don't enjoy, classes that I don't enjoy, or machines for building up my muscles that I don't enjoy. Just do the things that you enjoy. And if you don't enjoy that one day, then just find something else. There are so many opportunities in that gym. So just choose something that brings you more joy and brings you to your target of having a few more muscles and more healthy joints and a little bit more endurance to enjoy my life in general. So these were the things that happened to me, the event 3 weeks ago, which I'm still so grateful for. And I will probably always be grateful for. But I know as well at the same time, it was not just the event. The event was a climax of all of the stuff that went into it before that felt like I wasn't doing anything. And I talked about this in part 2. I talked about this in previous episodes, that it feels so often like we're not getting anywhere until you hit that event, that realization, that point, that experience. And then you're like, yes, that is what I worked for. That is what I wanted. And finally it happened. Well, and the most important thing for me as well to share with you is that this doesn't mean that this is the end. I'm not going to stop now. I would be crazy. It's like there are still so many things and beliefs and emotional blockages inside of me on this journey, on this surrender experiment with my body and my body image. This was just one of the things. And yes, this is a big deal for me, or even two big deals. The one event with the releasing of the need of not drinking alcohol, and then the desire of going to the gym to actually do something nice for my body. And I appreciate all of that, but I would be a fool to stop now. And I'm not a fool. I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep surrendering, because I know this is not the end. This is just the beginning. And I will keep you updated of how it goes and what's gonna happen next. As I said, I'm taking you on this journey. I'm literally telling you things as they happen to me and how I keep going and how I feel. So that was an update again. And I want to tell you already about the next episode, because this is another thing that happened to me this week. But I'm going to tell you that next week in the next episode, because it's just so huge as well. And it's not just, it's going to help me in my surrender experiment, but it's not just for the surrender experiment. This is a step in my spiritual growth that is so much bigger. And that's why I'm going to make a particular episode out of it. So if you are watching this episode pretty much, or this video pretty much as it comes out, then please make sure that you subscribe, that you come back to next week's episode, where I'm gonna share about what happened to me just a few days ago, which is monumental again. So you want to watch that one. And if you watch this video actually a while after, then well, you can head over to the next episode straight away and hear me talk about what happened to me this week. And with that, I love you and leave you. Talk soon, and bye bye.